And we are live. So, this is a little bit different and also really exciting because I am now going to be live streaming my podcast episodes. So, you can tune in and listen and interact in the chat box, in the comments box as well. So I am really excited to welcome you and thank you for tuning in, whether you are tuning in live or listening back to this episode. So this is podcast episode number 38. Ooh, 38. So the podcast itself has been obviously going for a little bit, for a number of episodes, and it has progressively changed and morphed into its own, I guess, platform or creation. And firstly, I just want to touch a little bit on the reasons and what the podcast is all about. Obviously, with the name like Fully Expressed, it is all about being open, having an open communication, and being authentically and organically expressed. So, speaking up about the things that are really important to me and also to you as well. And I really want this to be your podcast and be what you want to hear and what you might need to hear. And in order to do that, I need your feedback about the types of things or topics that you want me to talk about. What do you need help with right now? And what is something maybe that you want to learn more, understand more? So if you have any feedback, I would really appreciate you sending it my way. Nothing is off the table, so I welcome all suggestions. But today's, let me get, I'm like a wriggly worm at the moment, but today's topic or subject is something that I am very passionate about, and I wanted to really start to educate perhaps yourselves if this is something that you want to learn to understand, because I believe that it affects all of us. And the more we can understand ourselves, the more we can empower ourselves. And this is really something that I love to be able to teach. And it's something that I have taught or have learnt myself. So a lot of the things that I do teach are things that I have discovered in my own journey. So they are personal experiences or personal realizations that I want to share with others. And if you know a little bit about my story, you will understand that most of my life I have had to really relearn how to connect to my emotions, because as a young girl I suffered cancer as a young girl, and in that process I chose to disassociate as a way of protecting what I thought was protecting myself, or not feeling the full extent of the treatment of cancer as a young child. And So therefore, I disassociated with my body. I also disassociated from feeling the pain. And this is something I didn't really necessarily understand until a couple of years ago, and in my healing journey, where I started to understand perhaps why I had always felt avoidant of my feelings, and I'd always really kind of been afraid of them. So I would constantly suppress them and do anything to escape addressing my emotions. And I never really understood my emotions. And it meant that I never understood that they can be either the thing that we are afraid of, or the thing that leads us to, or is the path to a higher sense of understanding and having this inner knowledge and inner framework almost of yourself. So I have been on this healing journey for the past 4 years about really reconnecting to myself, learning to understand myself. And that meant learning to understand and connect to my emotions, which is something that I hadn't done for approximately 35 years, because I am now 40 years old now. And I'm a grown adult. Why it might seem a little bit strange that I wasn't connected to my emotions, or I didn't understand my emotions. And I think that we need to also show ourselves a little bit of compassion for not having certain awareness or certain knowledge or certain understanding. I think we just need to be really gentle with ourselves in acknowledging where we're at in our journey, regardless of where that is, regardless of, whether it's something that you are just starting out on and you're wanting to understand more of, or whether you've been on this journey for a little while now and you're learning something new about yourself. It doesn't matter where you are on that path. All that it matters is that you are on that path and you are learning, and you are gaining more insight and more wisdom into what makes you you. And so your emotions don't necessarily make you who you are, but they might tell a story about why you are the way you are. Because our emotions and our feelings and what we feel create our thoughts, and then our thoughts then create have I got that backwards? Our thoughts then create our feelings create our actions, and from that we also create our beliefs, and our beliefs create our reality. So if we go back to if we reverse engineer that and we go to the belief in the work that I do with you as a client or at my retreats, I always try to understand what your belief is. And then we take that belief and we work back to understanding the feeling and the root cause of that feeling, or the root cause of that emotion. So let's use myself as an example and say that, so a belief that I held was that it wasn't safe for me to feel, wasn't safe for me to feel my emotions. And as I say that, I'm feeling it in my heart, because I feel for that little girl who had to make such a huge decision. And so my belief was as an adult that I wasn't safe enough to feel or even express my emotions, because it was about me, because I believed it was safer for me not to. So if I ask myself, what is the emotion behind that belief, or what is we know the time point, but what is the emotion that generated that belief? And it would be pain, it would be hurt or discomfort. And so the emotion is pain or discomfort, and the understanding, obviously, the root cause is easier for me because I actually can pinpoint the time in my life where that happened. And how I know that is because I don't have any negative memories of that time in my life. So I know that mentally I have blocked everything out that was too painful. And so from the age of 3 years old, when I first was diagnosed with cancer, up until the age of 35, 36, I carried the belief that it wasn't safe for me to feel or express my emotions. And consequently, what that did is that created my reality. That created things that used to really come up in my life consequently. And it meant that, when you are feeling frustrated or when you're feeling upset and you are just feeling the emotion, you're going through the process of feeling. What became really difficult for me was actually expressing how I felt to other people. So it makes me think that my belief is around not feeling safe enough to express my feelings. Yes, that is definitely true. There we go. And so I apologize, there's just a bit of energy coming up. You've worked with me before, you'll understand that it's just part of the process, releasing. And obviously, this is a big thing for me to be here and to be talking about this because it's personal, but it's also my throat chakra, which is where the energy flows through when I speak. And so the belief that I held was that I didn't feel safe to express my emotions. I didn't feel safe to communicate how I was feeling. And I was feeling pain and discomfort. And this caused a number of other emotions because I didn't understand the root cause of the origin of this belief. And it's something that I carried with me as a belief in my subconscious that it was never okay for me to express my emotions. So when I did feel emotion, I wasn't able to articulate it or communicate it to other people in a way that allowed me to be heard and also understood. So you can imagine the frustration that this would cause other people who are watching me, perhaps crying or feeling some sort of emotion, not being able to let them know what I was feeling so that they could ask me how they could help me in that process. And this caused issues in with my family members. This caused issues with my love relationships. And it also caused a lot of issues for me in my workplace because I would be easily triggered by certain scenarios, certain circumstances. And I would become emotional at the workplace and not be able to let people know why I was emotional, let people know what I needed. I wasn't able to stand up for myself or to speak up for myself. And I think this really allowed other people to, I guess, come to a conclusion that because I wasn't able to express my emotions, therefore I didn't have a voice and I didn't have any power. This is a really big thing because I didn't have a voice, I didn't have any power in being able to speak up for myself and being able to protect myself, perhaps when someone was making an assumption about me because of the way that I handled my emotions. And you can start to see how much this one belief that I had, I haven't gone into any other beliefs just yet, but how huge this one belief is and the effect that it had in my life. And it made me feel really frustrated. It made me feel really small. It made me want to feel, or it made me feel invisible. But at the time of my emotions coming out, I would feel like all eyes are on me, and all I wanted to do is kind of crawl into my little shell and go back into my cave because I believe that this is safer than me actually expressing my emotions. And so the point that I'm trying to make is that our beliefs are, if we understand what our beliefs are and we start to work out what the root cause or the origin where you created this belief, where that comes from. And when you understand when that comes from it, and then you start to look at the circumstances around that time in your life, then you can start to understand, well, perhaps is this belief even my own belief? Is it a belief that I had to create based on being in survival mode, or was it perhaps a safety mechanism that I created, some sort of coping mechanism that I created, which then led me to create this belief? And is this belief even relevant in my life anymore? Do I still need to shut down my emotions to feel safe? Do I need to refrain from using my voice to keep the peace or to stay comfortable and not to disrupt anything? And so these are the things that you will start to ask yourself in terms of understanding what you believe and understanding your beliefs and how your emotions and your beliefs are intertwined, and how that through understanding these two things, it can start to change your life. Because once you start to understand your beliefs and your emotions, and then you can start to we can start to transmute and create new beliefs, which puts you in the most powerful position, because you can then create your own reality. Because we are talking about your thoughts creating your feelings creating your actions and or reactions, and your actions creating your beliefs, and then so on, creating your reality. So it sounds like a bit of a tongue twister. I'm going to pause and just take a breath and just let that land for you. Let that settle in, and I'll come back to it. I just want you to close your eyes for a second. Just start to turn your attention inward into your body. And just start to notice what's going on. Start to notice your in-breath and your out-breath, however small or big it might be. Start to notice is there any resistance that's coming up in your body. Is there any energy that's coming up to the surface? I want you to think about a belief that you hold right now. And let's make your belief around safety. What do you believe about safety? Just allowing that to come up without your ego wanting to create a story around it. Just imagine yourself in this moment as the observant. You are simply observing your beliefs. And once you've got this belief in your mind and you know what it is, you start to notice what is the emotion that is behind this belief, or the emotion that you feel when you say this belief. Does it feel restricted or expansive? How does it make you feel? And simply allowing this feeling to sit in your body, without judgment, without the need to want to fix or control it. I want you to cast your mind back to when you may have felt like this before. Is there a certain time in your life, or perhaps there are multiple times, that you have felt this emotion like this? Just simply allowing yourself to observe your body, simply acknowledging this process. Now that you understand this emotion and you can link it to a particular time in your life when you have felt like this, I want you to go all the way back to the beginning, to the very first time that you ever felt like this about your safety. Regardless of how you might feel, how uncomfortable it might be, just allowing you to recognize the origin of this emotion, and the origin of when this belief was created based on how you felt in that moment, perhaps as a young child, or perhaps as a teenager or young adult. And I just want you to send love and compassion to this version of you who perhaps didn't feel safe enough to address these emotions. You thought it was easier to ignore them. Who was protecting themselves in that moment of survival. Just sending her love, letting her know or him know that you understand why they took those actions, and you thank them They no longer need to hold this belief, and you allow them to be diluted, dismantled in your body and in your subconscious mind. You let them go. And acknowledging and witnessing this version of yourself, I want you to think about a new belief that you can create to replace the existing one that you held. And creating this belief from a place of love, from a place of security, from a place of knowing that you are secure, there is nothing you need to fear, that you are held and supported and always divinely guided. And just opening your eyes back, coming into this space. I just want you to repeat this belief out loud to yourself in this moment. I'll do one as an example. I believe that I am safe and I am celebrated when I express my true feelings, emotions, and my voice to others. And just start to notice how you feel when you say this, what you feel when you say this. I feel calm. I feel safe. I feel grounded, protected, and I feel confident to express my emotions. I feel open. And I feel heard. Right now, I feel very tranquil, and I hope that you do as well. I really want you to lean on this practice. This is something that I teach. It's something I'm very passionate about in helping you understand the root cause behind your beliefs and allowing you to reprogram these beliefs and release these emotions that perhaps you have been holding on to. Because when we release these emotions, we start to create more space in your body. We start to create more room for you to gain the clarity that you need to be able to understand and accept these parts of yourself that perhaps are not relevant, or perhaps that are not serving you right now in your life. And through understanding these parts and understanding these beliefs that you currently have in place and how they may be blocking you in your current reality is really a powerful tool that you can have to be able to change your reality, because you have the power to do this when you start to understand that your emotions are linked to your beliefs, and your beliefs create your physical reality and how you live right now. So I'm going to leave that there today, but if you want to find out more about how I can work with you in reprogramming your beliefs, then please feel free to reach out. You can do it here in my beautiful healing space in Sunbury, or you can come and join me at one of my soul discovery retreats that I run, specifically designed for you to feel safe, to feel seen, and to feel heard in expressing your emotions and understanding your core belief systems to be able to reprogram yourself. So you are always welcome to come along to the beautiful retreats. They are an incredible experience, and I would welcome you with open arms. But for now, I say farewell, and I hope that this has been a really useful episode, piece of information, and hopefully a tool that you can learn to take home and try for yourself. All right, my loves, I look forward to what the next episode has in store, and I will see you all there.